Yes, I'm back with another fantastic session. This is Santosh Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial. So in this YouTube video, I will discuss some multiple choice questions on English literature. I'm conducting 1000 MCQ series for the upcoming UGC NET exam, and this is the part 6 of that series. So let's begin with question number 251. Earlier, I have discussed 250 questions in 5 videos. So this video is going to deal with another 50 questions. So question number 251, it's saying that Paro, Dreams of Passion was the debut novel of which Indian writer? Paro, Dreams of Passion. Nomita Gokhale, Sujata Bhatt, Sujit Saraf, Nayantara Sehgal. So Paro, Dreams of Passion was the debut novel of Namita Gokhale. So Namita Gokhale is the founder and the co-editor of Jaipur Literature Festival, and she is also known for her fiction writer, that is Things to Leave Behind, and she has been awarded in the year 2021 with the prestigious, that is Sahitya Academy Award. So she got the Sahitya Academy Award in 2021. Her debut novel is Paro, Dreams of Passion, and Things to Leave Behind, other novel. And non-fictions is the Himalayan Arc, Journeys East of Southeast. So Namita Gokhale is the author, the novelist of the novel, that is Paro, Dreams of Passion. And Sujata Bhatt is known for her famous poetry collection, that is Brunism. That is Brunism. That is Bruni Gem, whereas Sujit Saraf is known for the famous novel, that is the Confession of Sultan Daku, the Confession of Sultan Daku. Hmm. Whereas Nayantara Sehgal is known for her novel like Rich Like Us, Rich Like Us, Rich Like Us, and another famous novel is Mistaken Identity, Mistaken Identity, Mistaken Identity, and another famous Storms in Chandigarh. Another novel is Storms in Chandigarh, Storms in Chandigarh. Okay, so Namita Gokhale is the of the right answer here, who has written the debut novel Paro, Dreams of Passion. Okay, look at here, that Namita Gokhale. Yeah, I have discussed this. Okay, now next question, Sujata Bhatt. Look at here, Sujata Bhatt was born in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and brought up in Pune until 1968, when she immigrated United States with her family. She received the Commonwealth Poetry Prize, that is ACS, and Alice Hunt Bartlett Prize for her first collection, that is Brunism, that was published in the year 1987. So Sujata Bhatt is known for her poetry collection, that is Brunism, and she has translated Gujarati poetry into English for the Penguin Anthology of Contemporary Indian Women Poets. So who has translated Gujarati poetry into English for the Penguin Anthology of Contemporary Indian Women Poets? It is Sujata Bhatt. Okay, and here Sujit Saraf, the another option there was there. Sujit Saraf is known for the Confession of Sultana Daku. That was 2009 historical novel by Sujit Saraf. The novel is about swashbuckling criminal career of Sultan Daku. Daku is the Hindi of Parbandit, undisputedly the most notorious dacoit in modern India's history. So he actually belonged to Bantu clan of criminals who terrorized United Province, and Uttar Pradesh was the known in 1920. The novel begins after he is captured by the ruling British and thrown into Haldwani Gaur, where in just a few hours to the gallows, he has a change of heart and a request for Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Pierce, the officer who played a major role in capturing him. So, The Confession of Sultan Daku, published in the year 2009, and it was written by Sujit Saraf. Okay, next question here. The Haitian writer and playwright Felix Mauricio Leroy translated and adapted Antigone into Haitian Creole under which title? So क्या बोल रहा है क्वेश्चन कि Haitian writer and playwright whose name is Felix Mauricio Leroy, who is the father of Creole Renaissance. He is called the father of Creole Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance, the father of Creole Renaissance, who is called Felix Mauricio Leroy, who has translated and adapted Antigone. Antigone is one of the Theban plays. One of the Theban plays, a trilogy, Theban trilogy, where Oedipus the king appear. Oedipus the king, or Oedipus Tyrannus, Oedipus the king, Oedipus Rex, or Oedipus Tyrannus, And number 2 play was that is Oedipus at Colonus. Oedipus at Colonus. Okay. Number 3 was Antigone. So these are 3 plays. Okay. Of Theban trilogy. It was written by whom? It was written by, that is, Sophocles. Sophocles, AAC. So Sophocles has written this Theban trilogy. And here the Hessian writer and playwright Felix Marceau translated and adapted Antigone into her Hessian Creole under the which title? What was the title? Antigone, Antigone's, Antigone, Antigone. So it was Antigone. Antigone is the right answer. Okay. So this was Felix Marceau has translated and adapted Antigone into Hessian Creole under the title was Antigone. Okay. And it was written by Sophocles, the Theban play. Oedipus the King, Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone. These are 3 plays trilogy written by Sophocles. Question here, look at here. The Creole Renaissance is a movement which established Creole as a legitimate literary language, started in large part by authors like Felix Marceau Leroy, who struggled successfully to make Haitian Creole the literary education official language of Haiti. Okay, so he was very a revolutionary person who struggled very hard, who fought very hard, and he was very successful to make Haitian Creole the literary education and official language of Haiti. Okay, look at here. Dash is the first dramatist. Who is the first dramatist to put more than one character? More than one character was introduced by whom on the stage? Because this drama was more like our modern concerts or church sermon or both. Contemporary church services continued the ancient theatrical style. A single speaker narrated the story, probably while while strumming an instrument, and a group of singers. The chorus accentuated the narration through. So the main point is that who has introduced the second more than one character, the second character. It was Sophocles, Aeschylus, Euripides, Aristophanes. So it was Aeschylus was the person who has introduced second character. So Aeschylus is known for the Orestia trilogy, Orestia trilogy, Orestia trilogy, Orestia ti erase it. It's Orestia trilogy. Aeschylus is known for Orestia trilogy. Orestia trilogy. And Orestia trilogy, here you have the Agamemnon, then the Libation bearers, and you have the third one is the Eumenides. So these are 3 works of Orestia trilogy written by whom? Aeschylus. And Aeschylus is the person who has introduced the second character. And Sophocles is known for the Theban trilogy. I already have discussed the Theban trilogy. Whereas Euripides is known for his works like Medea, the Alceste, the Alcest, and Aristophanes is the father of comedy. Whereas Aeschylus is the father of tragedy. Aeschylus is known father of tragedy, whereas Aristophanes is known as the father of comedy. And Aristophanes has written Lysistrata, the clouds, the wasps, the frogs. Is famous work written by Aristophanes. Okay. Now, an Euripides has written Medea and Alceste, the famous work. Okay, move to question number 254. The Flies is a famous work by Jean-Paul Sartre, modernized with, it is a 1943 play by Jean-Paul Sartre, modernized which Greek myth? He has modernized which Greek myth by introducing the theme of existentialism. So, Oedipus myth, Electra myth, Antigone myth, none of the above. So, The Flies is 1943, where in this play, Jean-Paul Sartre has modernized the Electra myth. He has modernized the Electra myth. So B is the right answer here. Move to question number. Look at here. The Flight is a play by Jean-Paul Sartre. It produced in 1943. It is an adaptation of the Electra myth previously used by Greek playwrights Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. The play recounts the story of Orestes and his sister Electra in their quest to avenge the death of their father, that is Agamemnon, king of Argos, by killing their mother, that is Clytemnestra. Jean-Paul Sartre incorporates an existentialist theme into the play, having Electra and Orestes engaged in a battle with Zeus and Pyrrhus, who are the goddess of Argos and the centerpiece of self-abnegating religious rituals. This results in fear and a lack of autonomy, or Zeus worshippers who live in constant shame of their inhumanity. So in the Flies, So Jan Prasad has modernized the Electra myth, and that has been earlier used by whom? The writers like that is Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. Okay, who said no man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to preserve to the end in their nature and education. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to preserve to the end in their nature and education. Plato, Aristotle, Ptolemy, none other. So it was Plato. Plato told these lines that no man should bring children into the world. Next question. The shrill, demented choirs of waiting cells and bugles calling for them from sad sires. These lines are from Wilfred Woon's The What Poet, strange meeting, no, futility, no, anthem for doomed youth, due that decorum est. So it is from anthem for doomed youth. These lines appear, that is the shrill, demented choirs of waiting cells and bugles calling for them from sad sires. These are lines from Wilfred Woon's poem, that is anthem for doomed youth. A reed shaken by the wind. A reed shaken by the wind is written by W.H. Warren. Teammate T.S. Eliot, Gavin Maxwell. So a reed shaken by the wind is a poem by Gavin Maxwell. Gavin Maxwell has written this poem. A reed shaken by the wind. Bliss was in it that dawn. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. What do these lines of Wordsworth suggest about the childhood? No, about the French Revolution, about the gold days. So it was about the French Revolution. It was about the French Revolution. So it appears in the prelude. Prelude. Look at here in the prelude. English poet William Wordsworth, who spent extended time in France during 1790s, recounted his enthrallment with the French Revolution. That bliss was it in that dawn to be alive. Reads a passage from Book 10, but to be young was very, very heaven. So in the prelude, these lines appear in the prelude, which is autobiographical work. Which was intended to be to the preface of the recluse, preface of a recluse. Okay, I don't like to call myself a feminist writer. I don't like to call myself a feminist writer. I say I'm a feminist, but I do not write to propagate feminism. Who said this line? Gayatri Chakrabarti, Shashi Deshpande, Manju Kapoor, Jhumpa Lahiri. So it was Shashi Deshpande told this line that I do not like to call myself a writer, a feminist writer. Yes, I am a feminist, but I do not write to propagate. And Gayatri Chakrabarti has translated of grammatology has translated of grammatology has translated of grammatology Gayatri Chakrabarti. The readers of grammatology has been translated by Gayatri Chakrabarti into English. Okay, which is the first extant poem of John Keats? Which is the first extant poem of John Keats, which is written in the year 1814 when he was 19 years of age. So when he was 19 years of age, he had written a poem, La Belle Redemption's Mercy, Ode on Gratian and Ode to Skylark, an imitation of Spenser. So it was an imitation of Spenser on the when he was 19 years old. He had written this work that is an imitation of Spenser. Okay, now move to question number 261. It is hanging. Let's wait for it. 260. Okay, now 261. Among the following ancient critics, who is related to virtue criticism? Who is related to virtue criticism? Aristotle, Longinus, Plato, both A and C. So Aristotle and Plato, Longinus does not appear. Does not belong to this category of virtue criticism. So here both A and C. Aristotle and Plato, they are the virtue criticism. Now, what is virtue criticism? Look at here. No. Okay. Stolen Sunshine, a woman's quest for herself. Stolen Sunshine, a woman's quest for herself is about the plight of Marwadi women. A woman's quest for herself. It is written by Shobhade, Amrita Pritam, Krishna Sapti, Smita Jhabbar. So, A Stolen Sunshine, the 2002 novel, was written by Smita Jhabbar. It is the plight of the Marwadi women. The Marwadi women. Smita Jhabbar has written the Stolen Sunshine, a woman's quest for herself. Look at here. It's subtitled as A Woman's Quest for Herself. Stolen Sunshine as Women's Quest for Herself, 2002 novel by Smita Jhabbar. This book is mainly about the complex social lives of Marwadi women living in India. The plot concerns 3 generations of a family: an elderly lady called Kesar Ma, her daughter Radha, and a granddaughters Krishna and Rukmini. And the other near and the dear ones these people have. After untimely death of Rukmani's husband, she has to take the family business in her hands and thus breaking away from the tradition, and gives birth to many go-throughs. And the storyline passes through a pre-independence and post-independence period and gives importance to the huge effect of historical upheavals to the position of women in Indian society. So it is about the plights, the complex social lives of Marwadi women. Smita Jhabbar has written this novel that is Stolen Sunshine, a woman's quest for herself. Now, Shelley's Queen Mab is about religious persecution. domestic bondage, both A and B. So it is about religious persecution, domestic bondage, and so here see both A and B is the right answer here. Religious persecution and domestic bondage, and its subtitle is a philosophical poem with notes. Okay, what is the subtitle of Queen Mab? Okay, a philosophical poem with notes, a philosophical poem, the Daemon of the World, a theological poem. No, philosophical poem. No. So so philosophical poem with notes. So A is the right answer here. The subtitle of Queen Mab is a philosophical poem with notes. Yeah, look at here. A Queen Mab, a philosophical poem with notes, published in 1813 in 9 cantos with 17 notes. The first large poetic work by P.B. Shelley, the romantic poet. After substantial reworking, the revised edition of portion of the text was published in 1816 under the title The Demon of the World. So it was after substantial reworking of a revised edition was also published by him, and the name of the revised edition was The Demon of the World. The Demon of the World, and its subtitle is a philosophical poem with notes. The theme of the work is perfectibility of man by moral means. Shelley took William Godwin's ideas and necessity. Shelley took William Godwin's idea of necessity, combined it with his own idea to ever-changing nature to establish the theory that contemporary societal evils would dissolve naturally in time. So the social evils that will dissolve naturally in time. Shelley, as a result of Napoleon action in French Revolution, believed that the perfect society could not be obtained immediately. So you have to wait for that. Okay, throughout violent revolution, you cannot get the perfect society. Instead, it was to be achieved through nature's evolution and ever greater numbers of people becoming virtuous and imagining a better society. So revolution is not a process to get that perfect society. It will be through nature's evolution. Okay, what is the name of Hester Prynne? Hester Prynne's illegitimate child in Nathan Hawthorne's novel The Scarlet Letter, and its subtitle is a romance. The Scarlet Letter, a romance. So this is Nathan Hawthorne's Hester's illegitimate child each Paula, Clara, Pearl, Susan. So it is Pearl. Hester Prynne's illegitimate child each Pearl, and its subtitle is a romance. The Scarlet Letter, a romance. Look at here, The Scarlet Letter romance is a work of historical fiction by American author Nathan Hawthorne, published 1850, set in Puritan Massachusetts Bay Colony during the 1642 to 1649. The novel tells the story of Hester Prynne, who conceives a daughter with a man to whom she is not married. So extended life then struggles to create a new life of repentance and dignity. Containing a number of religious and historic allusions, the book explores the themes of legalism, sin, and guilt. And D.H. Lawrence has says that it is a perfect work of American imagination. And his another novel by that is Nathan Hawthorne is Fanso. Fanso is another novel written by Fanso is another novel written by Nathan Hawthorne. It's a romantic novel. It's a Don Rice romantic. It's a romantic novel written by American author Nathan Hawthorne. It was first published work. His first published work, which he published anonymously in the year 1828. And the character Ellen Langton appear in this novel. So Fanso is the first novel published by. It was published anonymously by Nathan Hawthorne in the year 1828, where the character Alan Langton appears. Next question. Sorry. Okay. 266. Time held me green. Time held me green and dying, though I sang in my chains like the sea. Time held me green and dying, though I sang in my chains like the sea. Who wrote these lines? So these lines were actually written by Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas has written these lines in his poem Fern Hills. Fern Hills. Okay. Fern Hills is the last poem of Days and Entrances. Its poetry collections. Look at here. By the end, the poet's older voice has taken over, mourning his lost youth. He is mourning over his lost youth, with echoes of the opening. Oh, as I was young and easy in the mercy of his means, time held me green and dying, though I say in my chains like the sea. So here he is mourning his lost youth. And Fern Hill, there was 1945, a poem by the Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, first published in the Horizon magazine in October 1945, and with his first book publication in 1946 as the last poem in Days and Entrances, the poetry collection. In that Days and Entrances, Fern Hill is the last poem, and in that Fern Hill, these lines appear where Dylan Thomas, the Welsh poet, is mourning his lost youth and echoes with echoes of the opening line of that poem. So this is answered by Dylan Thomas. In Ulysses, Leopold Bloom works for Dublin what? Dublin Park newspaper bank. So in Ulysses, Leopold Bloom is or works for newspaper for Dublin newspaper. So 3 is the right answer here. Next question. When was Dr. Samuel Johnson dictionary published? When was Samuel Johnson dictionary published? 1754, 1754, 1755, 1756, 56, 17. So it was 1755. In that year, Dr. Samuel Johnson's dictionary was published in the year 1755. Move to next question here. In essay concerning human understanding, John Locke produces a philosophical account of the ambiguous relationship between knowledge and whom? In essay concerning human understanding, John Locke, the philosopher, who has given the concept of tabula rasa. Tabula rasa. Okay. Now, Locke produces a philosophical account of the ambiguous relationship between knowledge and power, hegemony, language, ideology. So it does not deal with power, hegemony, ideology. So it is about language. So in essay concerning human action, Locke produces a philosophical account of ambiguous relationship between knowledge and language. So C is the right answer. Now next question 270. Who amongst the following poets belong to the Graveyard School of Poetry? The Graveyard School of Poetry: William Cooper, Robert Blair, Thomas Gray, Thomas Parnell, William Collins, Edward Young, Blair. So all of them belongs to uh, belongs to Graveyard School of Poetry. Here William Cooper, Robert Blair, Thomas Gray, Parnell as well, Collins. So all of them belong to Graveyard School of Poetry. All of them, they're all Graveyard School of Poetry. Who amongst the following was not one of the interlocutors in the Socratic dialogue about justice? Okay, who amongst the following was not one of the interlocutors in the Socratic dialogue about justice in Book 1 of Plato's Republic? Cephalus, Polemarchus, and Thrasymachus or Procris. So it was not Procris, okay, who was not in that part 1. Okay, look at here. Cephalus, an old and wealthy Athenian arm manufacturer, suggests the first definition of justice as speaking the truth and repaying what one has borrowed. So Cephalus was there. Polemarchus represents a traditional maxim work morality by referring to the poet, that is Simonides, who viewed justice as a to render to each due, to which he adds his own definition of justice as a doing good to friends, harm to enemies. And for Thrasymachus, justice means personal interest of the ruling group in any state. So here, Procris does not appear. Okay. Literature always anticipates life. It doesn't copy it, but it molds it to its purpose. Who said these lines? Okay. Was said by whom? So Oscar Wilde, Ezra Pound, Coleridge, Aristotle, Coleridge, Ezra Pound. So it was told by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde has told this line that literature always anticipates life. It doesn't copy it, but it molds it into purpose. Okay. Who said, I awoke one morning and found myself famous? These lines: Chaucer, Matthew Arnold, Shakespeare, Byron. So it was told by Byron. Byron told this line that I awoke one morning and found myself famous. Now, 274. The following was the editor of the Criterion. So the C.D. Narasimha, B. Sivaram Krishna, T.S. Eliot. So here T.S. Eliot is related to the Criterion. Next question. The character Maggie. Maggie figures in Adam Beat, Mill on the Floss, Silas Marner. So these are all novel by George Eliot. The Maggie appears in the novel, that is the Mill on the Floss, where Tom and Maggie Tulliver and Dorcott Mill also appears there. They're growing up over the Dorcott Mill. Dorcott Mill there, and it is about that Tom and Maggie Tulliver. Tom and Maggie, the siblings, Maggie Tulliver. Okay, and Dorcott Mill. Look at here. The Mill and the Floss is novel by George Eliot, spanning a period of 10 to 15 years. The novel details the lives of Tom and Maggie Tulliver, siblings who grow up at the Dorcott Mill on the River Floss. This mill is at the junction of the River Floss and the more minor river Ripple near the village of St. Ox in Lincolnshire, England. Both the rivers and the village are fictional. She passes through a period of tough spirituality. Who? Here there is Maggie Tulliver, during which she renounces the world and motivated by her reading Thomas Kempis novel, that is The Imitation of Christ. So see, in that novel, that is Maggie Tulliver watch when she renounces everything. She was lacking the spirituality. So that's why she motivated by her reading when she had read the work, that is Thomas Kempis, The Imitation of Christ. Which of these works by Indian writers does not have the Naxalite movement, does not have the mother of 1084 Hajar Churasir Ma in Bengali, Lives of Others, it is written by Neil Mukherjee, it is written by Neil Mukherjee. Neil Mukherjee has written this, okay, this Neil Mukherjee has written this novel, The Lives of Others, Mother of Hajar Churasir, it also belongs to this category of Naxalite movement. Yeah, it has also Naxalite movement. The Hungry Tides, the Lowland is also has the Naxalite movement, but the Hungry Tides has not the it has not the Naxalite movement here. So here, C is the right answer here. C is the right answer here. Hmm. And the Lowland is actually written by Jhumpa Lahiri. Jhumpa Lahiri has written the Lowland, and the Hungry Tides was written by Amitabh Ghosh. Okay. And the setting is Sundarban, where the characters like Piali Rai Fakir appears. Okay. Cry the Beloved Country. Cry the Beloved Country is written by whom? Alan Patton, Nathan Gordimer, Aldous Huxley, J.D. Salinger. So here, the Cry the Beloved Country is written by Alan Patton. Alan Patton has written Cry the Beloved Country. Look at here at these slides. Cry the Beloved Country is a 1948 novel by the South African writer Alan Patton. It was said in the prelude in the beginning to apartheid movement in South Africa. It follows black village priest and a white farmer who must deal with the news of murderer. American publisher Bennett Kraft remarked that at that year's meeting of the American Booksellers Association that there had been only 3 novels published since the first of the year that were worth reading. That is, one is the Cry the Beloved Country, another is the Ideas of March. Ideas of March actually written by it was written by Thornton, Ideas of March, and the Naked and the Thornton Wilder. Okay, Thornton Wilder has written, Thornton Wilder, Thor, and Thornton Wilder has written the ideas of Mars and the Naked and the Dead. No, the Naked and the Dead. Sorry, the Naked and the Dead was written by Norman Mailer. It was written by Norman Mailer. Whereas ideas of Mars written by Thornton Wilder, and Naked and the Dead was written by Norman Mailer, and it was the background of Second World War II. Okay, look at here now. That Cry the Beloved Country was written by Alan Patton. Who is the author of the Leviathan? Leviathan 1651, which draws its title from a biblical mythical creature, that is George Puttenham, Thomas Hobbes, Lewis Bailey, Thomas Spratt. So Leviathan was written by Thomas Hobbes. Look at this slide here. Leviathan, or the matter from power of communal, ecclesiastical, and civil comedy, commonly referred to as Leviathan, is a book written by Thomas Hobbes and published in 1651. Its name stems from the biblical Leviathan. The work concerns the structure of society and legitimates government and is regarded as one of the earliest and most influential examples of social contract theory. Okay, written during the English Civil War, that is saying 1642 1651. It argues for a social contract and ruled by an absolute sovereign. Hobbes wrote the Civil War and the brute situation of state of nature, the war of all against all, could be avoided only by strong, undivided government. So here, this famous work by Thomas Hobbes, that is Leviathan. The title of Hobbes' treatise alludes to the Leviathan mentioned in the book of Job, the biblical. In contrast to the simplified informative titles usually given to the works of early modern political philosophy, such as John Locke's Two Treatises of Government or Hobbes' own earlier work, The Elements of Law. Hobbes selected a more poetic name for this provocative treatise, for this provocative book. Okay, The Naked and the Earth. Okay, The Naked and the Earth, the setting was actually World War II. Okay, now is the novel written by Norman Mailer, Alan Patton, Thornton Wilder, Mark Twain. So The Naked and the Dead was written by Norman Mailer. Norman Mailer is the right answer here. Naked and the Dead. The Naked and the Dead is a novel written by Norman Mailer. It is his debut novel. It depicts the experience of a platoon during World War II, based partially on Mailer's experiences as a cook with the 112th Cavalry Regiment. Okay, 112 Cavalry Regiment during Philippines campaign in World War II. The book quickly became a bestseller, paving the way for the Miller's work such as the Deer Park advertisements of myself, Time of Out Time. He believed The Naked and the Dead to be his most renowned work, and it was his first popular novel about the war and is considered one of the greatest English language novels. It was later adapted into film in 1958, and the novels divided into four parts. One is Wave, then Argyll and Mold, Planned and Phantom, and the last one is Wake. So Naked and the Dead, it has four parts as well, written by Norman Mailer, and setting was World War II, at the background of World War II. Now, the Ideas of Mars. The Ideas of Mars, it's an epistolary novel by Norman Mailer, Alan Paton. Alan Paton has Cry the Peacock. Cry the Beloved Country. Okay, Alan Paton, Thornton Wilder, Mark Twain. So it was Ideas of Mars was written by Thornton Wilder. Thornton Wilder. Thornton Wilder is the right answer. C is the right answer here. It is an epistolary novel. Look at here, The Ideas of Mars, an epistolary novel by Thornton Wilder that was published year 1948. It is, in the author's words, a fantasia on certain events and a person of the last days of Roman Republic. Historical reconstruction is not among the primary aims of this work. The novel deals with the characters and events leading to the culminating in the assassinations of Julius Caesar. So this is important fact that it deals with the assassinations, the murder of the killing of Julius Caesar. That is The Ideas of Mars, an epistolary novel by Thornton Wilder. Look at here, that which are the three Pulitzer Prize works by Thornton Wilder. Thornton Wilder is a very important writer for UGC NET. So here he has been awarded with three prestigious Pulitzer Prize. Okay, two is for um, two is for his plays and one is for his novel. So here, which are the three works? The Bridge of San Luis Rey. It is the novel. It is a novel, and for this work he has been awarded. For this novel he has been awarded the Pulitzer Prize, and another two play, that is Our Town and the Skin of Our Teeth. So these are two plays. So for these three works he has been awarded with the Pulitzer Prize. The first is The Bridge of the San Luis Rey, and the second play is Our Town and the Skin of Our Teeth. These are two plays for these works. Okay, he has been awarded with the Pulitzer Prize. Okay, so A is the right answer here. Look at here, the Thornton Wilder, American playwright and novelist. He won 3 Pulitzer Prize for the novel, that is The Bridge of San Luis Rey. This is the novel, and for the plays Our Town and the Skin of Our Teeth. These two plays. Okay, for these two plays. And he has also been awarded with the National Book Award for his novel The Eighth Day. The Eighth Day. Look at here, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, the novel, first novel, is American author Thornton Wilder's second novel. It was first published in 1927 to worldwide acclaim. The novel won Pulitzer Prize in 1920. It was the best-selling work of fiction. So, Bridge of San Luis Rey. Now, The Bridge of San Luis Rey tells the story of several interrelated people who die in the collapse of an Inca rope bridge in Peru. So, that is the collapse of an Inca rope bridge in Peru, and the events that lead up to the being lead up to their being on the bridge. A friar who witnesses the accident then goes about inquiring into the lives of victims, seeking some sort of cosmic answer to the question of why each had to die. So it is about the collapse of an Inca rope bridge in Peru. It is Bridge of San Luis Rey. This is the second novel written by Thornton Wilder, and for this novel he has been awarded the Pulitzer Prize. Now it has part one. Part one is known as Perhaps an Accident. Its part one is known as Perhaps an Accident. The first few pages of the first chapter explain the book's basic premises. The story centers on a fictional event that happened in Peru on the road between Lima and Cayo at noon on Friday, July 2017 and 14. A rope bridge opened by the Inca a century earlier collapsed at that particular moment, while 5 people were crossing it, sending them falling from a great height to their deaths in the river below. So this is the novel written by Thornton Wilder. Okay, now look at here. There died a marriage, and of the best among them for an old beach gone in the teeth, for a botched civilization charm smiling at the good mouth, quick eyes gone under earth's lid, for 2 gross of broken statue, for a few thousand battered books. So these lines are actually from Hugh Moberly. Hugh Moberly. Hugh Sylvan Moberly. Okay, Hugh Sylvan Moberly. Actually written by as a who has written these lines actually Ezra Pound. Hugh Sylvan Moberly. Hugh Sylvan Moberly. Yeah, these verses are from Hugh Sylvan Moberly 1920 long poem by Ezra Pound. Pound meant this poem to be strong statement because he described the first stage of the career when his primary concerns were aesthetics, literary traditions, and criticizing post-World War One, post-World War World War One society. So huge several Moberly. The year 1776 was associated with that is intervention of steam engine, no, War of Roses, no, American independence. Yeah. So the year 1776 was associated with American independence. Next question, Kiran, you have to novelist. There are novelist and novels. You have to match. Kiran Desai, Ante Desai, Nayantra Sehgal, Jayashree Mishra, Ancient Promises, Mistaken Identities, Holla Bolo in the Guava Orchard and in Custody. So here Kiran Desai is related to Halla Bolo in Guava Orchard, which is said in Sahakat Punjab, and where Sampath Chawla is the protagonist. Okay. And then you have Halla Bolo in Guava Orchard. This is Kiran Desai. Anita Desai is here in custody. Anita Desai is in custody. Okay. Now Nayantra Sagal is a mistaken identity, where Jayashree Mishra is ancient promises. Ancient promises. Okay. So Jayashree Mishra is ancient promises. Anita Desai is in custody. Nayantra Sagal has written mistaken identities. He has also written mistaken identities and reach like us, storm, reach like us, storm in Chandigarh. Okay. Kiran Desai has written that is the inheritance of loss as well. Hallabolo and Hallabolo in Goa Orchard and inheritance of loss. Okay. Now next question here. A British author that is Isuguro, historical fiction and artist of the floating world, published 1986. Is it's said in the post-World War. Post-World War II Japan and narrated Masuji Ono. So narrated by Masuji Ono is the narrator. What is the narrator profession? A chef, a martial arts instructor, a photographer, or painter. So here he is a painter. Masuji Ono is a painter, an artist of the floating world. That is said in the post-World War II Japan. Masuji Ono. Her first his first two novels is A Pale View of Hills and Artist of the Floating World were noted for the exploration of Japanese identity and their mournful tone. So in the first two novels, he has actually explored the Japanese identity, A Pale View of Hills and An Artist of the Floating World, where Masuji Ono appears the narrator who is a painter. He has been nominated for the Booker Prize for 4 times, winning the prize in 1989 for his novel The Remains of the Day. And Salman Rushdie praised the novel as Ishiguro's masterpiece, in which turned away from the Japanese setting of her first two novels, that is A Pale of Vehicles and Artist of the Floating. So that's why he's saying, Salman Rushdie is saying that the turned away from the Japanese setting of his first two novels and revealed that his sensibility was not rooted in any one place but capable of travel and metamorphosis. And Ishiguro's science fiction novel is Never Let Me Go. Never Let Me Go. Science fiction novel is Never Let Me Go. Okay. Which of the following of GB Shaw was prescribed because of its portrayal of sexual exploitation? That is Mrs. Warren's Profession. Mrs. Warren's Profession is the right answer here. The Quintessence of Ibsenism. The Quintessence of Ibsenism was written by GB Shaw. The Quintessence of Ibsenism was written by GB Shaw. Okay. Next question. What rhetorical device is employed for eyes in the following lines here? Dickinson's poem, that is, I heard a fly buzz when I died. I heard a fly. So the speaker is saying that he is dead. He or she is dead. Okay, and he is now or she is now hearing a fly is buzzing there. The eyes around, and had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for the last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. Metaphor, it's a metaphor. Enjambment, hyperbole. So it is not a metaphor, it is not a enjambment, it is a hyperbole. No, it is a synecdoche, that is apart for whole. That is a synecdoche. So here the eyes are the eyes of the people who are in the room. They are mourning there, who are in the room. So as in synecdoche, a part is made into represent the whole. Poet has used in the fifth line of the poem, the eyes around had wrung them dry. Here the eyes represent a room full of people who are present there. Identify the correct order of the publication here. Okay, the Hollow Man, the Gerontian Okay, the Hollow Man was published in the year 1925. So, and it was Jeronson was published in 1920. So, it is not the correct order. Journey of the Maggie 1927. No, it is not. Then As Wednesday 1930. It is not the. And the Hollow Man. Hollow Man was published in 1925. It is so, so it is not. So it is not. It is not. The Jeronson is 1920. The Hollow Man. Hollow Man is you have 1925. Yes. As Wednesday 1930. But whereas Journey of the Maggie is 1927. So it does not follow. So here Jeronson 1920. Jeronson is 1920. Okay. Hollow Man is 1925. Yeah, 1925. Journey of the Maggie is 1927, whereas As Awareness 1930. So this pairs, this one follows. Okay, so Jeronson 1920, Hollow Man 1925, and you know that 1922 is the 1992, sorry, 1992 is the publication. 1922. Yes, 1922 is the publication of The Wasteland. The Wasteland, the famous Wasteland. Okay, so 1920 Jeronson, 1922 The Wasteland, The Hollow Man 1925, Journey of the Maggie 1927, As Wasteland 1930. These are publications, the writings of T.S. Eliot. The terms tenor and vehicle. Tenor and vehicle have been coined by T.S. Eliot. No, I. Richards, not of Fry. Jacques Derrida, no. So it was coined by I. Richards. But tenor is the subject and vehicle is the objective thing. Tenor and vehicle here. I. Richards describes a metaphor as having two parts, the tenor and vehicle. Tenor is a subject to which attributes are ascribed, and the vehicle is the object which attributes are borrowed. Okay, so the tenor is the vehicle. Tenor and vehicle, tenor is the subject and the vehicle is the object whose attributes are borrowed. Which among the following cannot be regarded as a stream of consciousness novelist? James Joyce, yes. William Makepeace Thackeray, no. Dorothy Richardson, yes. Virginia Woolf. So William Makepeace Thackeray cannot be regarded as a stream of consciousness novelist. Look at here. What does Jean-Paul Sartre mean by his concept anguish of freedom? Anguish of freedom. Jean-Paul Sartre has written the flies, the flies, the flies, the flies. So look at that. And what does he mean by anguish of freedom? Freedom comes after death. Freedom is a false idea. Freedom classes with responsibility. So existence comes with anxiety, or existence comes with anxiety or anguish of freedom. So this is one. This is the right answer. D is the right answer. Next question. Who among the following is not a reader response criticism? Who are reader? Maud Botkin is archetypal criticism. Hans Robert Jones. So here Maud Botkin is not. So here Maud Botkin is not reader response critic. So who are the reader response critic? Hans Robert Jones, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Ayer, and you have Norman Holland. You have Norman Holland, another Norman Holland, Holland, and you have Rolla Barth. You have Rolla Barth. Okay. Rolla Barth. So 5. Norman Holland, Rolla Barth, Hans Robert Joss, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Ayer. Next question. Look at here. Norman Holland, Stanley Fish, Wolfgang Ayer, Hans Robert Joss, Rolla Barth. This is the reader response critics. And social okay. France standing on the top of nature, seeming born again. These lines are from Prelude, Daffodils to Navy. France standing on the top of nature, seeming born again. It is Prelude. It is from Prelude. Prelude. These lines are from Prelude. The Prelude, its subtitle is Growth of a Poet's Mind, an autobiographical poem, is an autobiographical poem in blank verse by the English poet William Wordsworth, intended as the introduction to the more philosophical poem, The Recluse. The Recluse. It was intended as an introduction to the more philosophical poem Recluse, which Wordsworth never finished. The Prelude is extremely personal work and reveals many details of Wordsworth's life, its growth as a poet. Wordsworth began the Prelude in 1798 and at the age of 28 and continued to work on it throughout his life. He never gave it a title, but it called it a poem. Okay, and title not yet fixed upon to Coleridge in his letters to his sister Dorothy Wordsworth. The poem was unknown to the general public until the final version was published in the year 1858 after the Wordsworth's death. After Wordsworth's death, it was posthumously published in the year 1850. Who wrote Light Breaks Where No Sunshines? Light Breaks Where No Sunshines. Okay, it is written by Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas has written Light Breaks Where No Sunshines. So there is a, he's talking about hope. Light breaks where no sunshine describes the effect of hope that springs in a place where there is total hopelessness. So where there is a total hopelessness, here kind of the poet is finding a kind of hope. Firstly, the promise of faith lets the heart swell with life and strength. Secondly, it brings focuses to person's broken mind. And thirdly, it gives him energy even to bones that have no flesh. Okay. Which of the following plays by Christopher Marlowe tells the story of the disposition of a king? Disposition of a king by his barons and queen. So Dr. Faustus no, Edward II, massacre at Paris, Joe Malta no. So it was the Edward II. Edward II is about the disposition of a king by his barons and the queen. Okay. Over there, who wrote the following lines? I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sent to know whom the bell tolls, it tolls for free. So it is by John Donne, and it influenced him to write a novel that is For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway. So it, actually these lines are written by whom? John Donne. John Donne. American female novelist Pearl S. Buck. Pearl S. Buck got a Nobel Prize for her novel that is The Good Earth, House Divided, The Patriot, D. Cameron. So Pearl S. Buck got the Nobel Prize in 1938 for her novel that is The Good Earth. For her novel The Good Earth. Look at here, The Good Earth is a historical fiction novel by Pearl S. Buck, published in the 1931, dramatizes family life of Chinese village in the early 20th century. And it is the first book in her House of Earth trilogy that continued San's A House Divided, and it was the best-selling novel in the United States in both 1931 to 1932. And it won her the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction 1932 and was influential in Buck's winning the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1938. The story begins on Wang Lang's wedding day and follows the rise and fall of his fortune. So here it is about the Wang Lang's The Good Earth, done by the Pearl S. Buck. Pearl S. Buck. Next question, who is considered the rebel poet of the English literature? So here Byron. Byron is called the rebel poet of English literature. Sudha Murthy's non-fictional short story. Sudha Murthy, the non-fictional short story, How I Taught My Grandmother. How I Taught My Grandmother to Read is set against the backdrop of which Indian state? Kerala, no. Maharashtra, no. It is about Karnataka. So it is Tamil. So it is about Karnataka. So Sudha Murthy's non-fictional short story, that is How I Taught My Grandmother to Read, is set against the backdrop of which Indian state? It is about the backdrop of Karnataka. Next question, the title comes for the King James Bible. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Name the place, the skin of our teeth. It is by Thornton Wilder. Thornton Wilder, the skin of our teeth. Okay, the skin of our teeth. Next question. Our Town is a play, is a meta theatrical play, is a meta theatrical 3-act play by American playwright who is he? So it was written by Thornton Wilder. Thornton Wilder. Cry the Beloved Country was written by Alan Paton. Norman Miller has written the Naked, the Naked and the Earth, whereas Thornton Wilder has written Our Town. Our Town. So it's a theatrical theater. For this work he has been awarded the Pulitzer Prize. Our Town. This is a play. The most pernicious race of little odious vermin, okay, that nature ever suffered to crawl upon the face of the earth. Whose response was in it? It was actually response was it by the king of brooding neck. The king of brooding neck. Okay. Now 304. In the Inferno, Dante, as he travels through the various circles of the hell, finds Judas, who is unable to speak. What is the reason behind this? Okay, his tongue is transformed into a coiled snake. His head is battered, and so he cannot open his mouth. His tongue is Lucifer is chewing on his head, or his tongue is pulled out and nailed on the tree. So it is about that Lucifer is chewing on his head. That's why Judas was unable to speak in the Inferno of Dante. Now last questions. Led me not to the marriage of true minds. Led me not to the marriage of true minds is among the 154 sonnets written by William Shakespeare about the nature of true love. Shakespeare's compares loves to island, waves of sea, north star, sunflowers. So in this line, Shakespeare is comparing compares love to a north star who guides people. So here, led me not to the marriage of true minds. It's from the sonnet number 116. Let's look at it in Shakespeare's sonnet 116. Let me note to the marriage of true minds. The speaker compares laugh to a star to every wandering bark. Bark means here the ships. Okay, every wandering ships. This is a kind of metaphor in which love is compared to the North Star or a constellation that is used by sailors to guide their ships or barks. So it is about these lines appear in the sonnet 116, and Shakespeare has written in total 154 sonnets. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with SAHOO'S tutorial and